Okay, Tina, I think we'll make a start. Thanks to everyone again for joining the session today. And thanks especially to Tina Voizey of Boardmaker, well, I should say of Tobii Dynavox, who's going to be taking us through the latest version of Boardmaker and highlighting some of its new features. So thanks for that. So if Tina, if you can maybe do about 20-25 minutes, and then if there's any questions, people can pop them in the text chat, and we can answer some of those questions at the end. Okay.
That's
Okay.
great.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to be here. My name is Tina Voizey. I am the Education Manager for Tobii Dynavox for the UK and Ireland. I am a teacher with over 20 years experience working with learners with profound and multiple learning difficulties. I have been working, despite the accent, for the past 17 years in the UK, mainly in the assistive technology and AAC field. I am accompanied today in the audience by my colleague Debbie Breslin, who is the local account manager for Scotland. So as Craig said, please ask questions as you go along, and I'm hoping that Debbie might be able to answer some through the chat, and certainly we can address them. But we're really, really excited to be introducing you to Boardmaker 7 today. It is due out on the 17th of November, so not very long to go now. We'll talk about the differences of Boardmaker and give Boardmaker 7 from previous versions of Boardmaker you may have already experienced, and show you really what it's all about and the great new features. So with that being said, let's get started. I'm going to do a little bit of PowerPoint, and then we will go into a live demonstration. So Boardmaker 7 is a fantastic platform that is going to allow you to create symbol-supported resources, both print and interactive. It also gives you an opportunity to find resources, whether it's on our community, where we've got 250,000 people who are using Boardmaker worldwide, sharing things that they've already made so that you don't have to start from scratch. You can also find ready-made curriculum that we have created as well, and we'll talk a little bit about that today. With Boardmaker 7, you can play the interactive resources. So whether it's having a student sitting next to you and you engage in one-to-one or a small group support using symbol resources interactively, or whether it's assigning work to them where they can access interactive resources themselves on their own devices. And you can collect data as they do that and see what they're using and how they're performing with it, where maybe you need to intervene more and where you can move on. With Boardmaker 7, there are 3 different components. The first is the editor, and that's where we're going to spend the vast majority of our time this session, because the editor is really where you go in and you create all of those resources that you want to make, either for print or for interactive. The second element is the website, which is called My Boardmaker. My Boardmaker is where you can find the ready-made resources that others have shared, as well as the curriculum that we offer, and it offers a lot more than that, which we'll show you. And then lastly, the Student Center. The Student Center is where you assign your resources to your students. It is a free app that they can download, that you can put on school computers, and then they can access resources that you've created for them or that you've picked from the ready-made materials for them to engage with. So we're going to take a look at all 3 of these a little bit more closely. First, talking about the Boardmaker 7 editor, it's going to be available for Windows, Mac, and Chromebook. It will come with all of the symbols that we have on the day of launch. Right now, we're looking at over 50,000 of our PCS, or picture communication symbols, which will be available in 4 different styles. Boardmaker 7 editor allows you to create that print or interactive resources. And you can create from scratch, so just with a blank piece of paper, getting symbols on exactly the way you want. Or what I find being the most powerful, you can choose to start from any of our over 400 templates. You can take ready-made materials and edit and personalize them to make them your own. And of course, you can bring in any of your old Boardmaker resources. I know so many of you have been using Boardmaker. We've just celebrated our 30th anniversary, so maybe you've made things in version 5, 6, Studio or Boardmaker Online, and you're going to be able to bring those into Boardmaker 7 Editor and continue to use them, print them, and further edit them. There is an integrated web search within the Boardmaker 7 Editor. So if we don't have the symbol that's right for you, then you can utilize that to find an image that's more suitable. And we're also making it super easy for you to be able to create your resources and print them to a PDF, which right now, when we're supporting learners from a distance in so many situations, whether they're self-isolating or when we were homeschooling, being able to clip in a resource to a PDF and send it home for parents and carers to be able to print off is super powerful and super needed, I think, at the moment. Moving on to the Boardmaker Student Center, this is where we can take our materials that we've created and assign them to our learners. It's interactive. It can be used on iPads, Windows, Mac, Chromebook, Android, as well as Tobii Dynavox dedicated AAC devices. Your students have unlimited downloads. So when you create an account for your student, it's part of your Boardmaker 7 package, and they can put it on their home computer, their iPad, their Tobii Dynavox device that they're using to communicate, really any place they need it, which they can also then access using eye gaze, switch, mouse, as well as touch. So we're making sure that everyone's included in using symbol-supported resources. And the Student Center is allowing you to assign that personalized material that you've made for your learners, as well as pick and choose from the ready-made materials that we provide you that's right for your learners. And the whole time that they're interacting with the resources that you've made or chosen for them, the Student Center is collecting data, and you're going to be able to run reports to see what they've been using and how they've been performing. Now, lastly, I want to talk a little bit about My Boardmaker, which is the website component to Boardmaker 7. With My Boardmaker, you get cloud storage. So with the Boardmaker editor, you can install it if you have a subscription on as many computers as you like. Or if you go for the other option, standard, you can put it on 2 computers with a license. So that means with cloud storage, you can move around and not worry about whether you made that timetable on your classroom computer or at home on your laptop. That your resources follow you around and you don't have to worry about where things are saved or carrying around a USB stick. Also in the My Boardmaker website is where you access the community. So all of those Boardmaker users from around the world coming together to share resources to stop us all from recreating the wheel. On the My Boardmaker website, you'll also find the curriculum that we offer to our Boardmaker 7 subscribers. This includes Core First Learning and Reading Avenue. These are 2 curriculums that have been developed to support non- and emerging readers to get on the road to literacy. We also have the ability to manage accounts within My Boardmaker, whether it's managing the accounts of other editors, if you have an organization subscription, so maybe your school or your speech and language therapy team, the charity that you work within, has a number of people editing within a group account, well, then you can manage their logins. If somebody moves on to another job, you can take their account and free it up for somebody else to use. You can also manage the accounts of your learners, so assigning work to them so that they can use it wherever they like, and as well being able to recycle those as students transition to different locations. And lastly, My Boardmaker is where you're going to find the data that's collected through Student Center use. So we can take a look at the data that's been collected and then print off reports and use it as evidence towards students' growth. Now I want to talk a bit about PCS, or picture communication symbols, the heart of Boardmaker, where it really all began. And it began with the classic symbols, our lovable eggheads that have been around actually before Boardmaker. They were first hand-drawn by Roxy Mayer, half of the Mayer-Johnson duo that founded Boardmaker. We're very much still focusing on our classic eggheads. We're always looking at how we can improve them. Most recently, really taking a look at diversity that's represented in skin tones within our classic symbols, as well as making sure that we're keeping up to date with content and making sure that all of our PCS users have the symbols they need to talk about what's going on around them. We introduced a newer symbol set called Thin Line about 10 years ago, and these were in reaction to some of our older users telling us that they felt like the classic symbols were just a bit too age inappropriate for them, that they were kind of cartoonish, and they wanted something that they could relate to a little bit more as older users. So that's where the thin line symbols came into play. Again, something that we're looking at and developing constantly. Most recently with the diversity initiative, where we've been making sure that we represent lots of ethnic backgrounds within these representations, which are more contextually rich than our classic symbols. You will find depictions of children as well as adults, male and female, within the thin line symbols. Also, when we release Boardmaker 7, we will be introducing a second volume to our high contrast symbols. These are symbols that were developed as part of a special project where we were looking at how we could support learners who have a visual impairment who need high contrast colors in order to be able to access symbols. So we've had a small library that's been out for a number of years now, High Contrast Volume 1, and we will be releasing High Contrast Volume 2 with Boardmaker 7. And lastly, we have a symbol set called In Context. These were symbols that were developed as part of an AAC package that's been out for quite a few years that looked at supporting people who've had a stroke or brain injury. These images are very contextually rich. They do depict adults throughout because they were designed for adults who've had a stroke or brain injury. As a teacher, I think that these would be really fantastic to use as illustrations or visual scenes within books or social stories that I'm creating to support my learners. But it can be used as single meaning icons as well if you do have learners that relate to them and want to use them for communication, behavior, or learning. Now, I should say all of those symbols will be included. All four of those types of symbols, styles of symbols, will be included with Boardmaker 7. We will also be continuing with bi-weekly symbol updates, something that we introduced with Boardmaker Online, and we will continue to offer to our Boardmaker 7 subscribers. And the bi-weekly symbol updates mean that we can really react to what's going on in the world and make sure that our symbol users have access to the concepts that they want to talk about, the words that they want to use, whether it's talking about very topical things like what's going on with the pandemic, what's going on with current events, or just using language that their friends are using, things like hangry or he's telling another dad joke, as well as topics that we may be learning about in our classrooms, like environmental issues, or supporting somebody through an AAC assessment. So we're constantly developing these. They're typically in partnerships with people around us that we partner up with, whether it's a specialist center or a group of teachers, of learners in specific areas of the world. We rely on them to give us information about what symbols are needed. So all of these symbols, and Boardmaker, of course, itself, has really been designed and been used over the past 30 years to support communication, behavior, and participation. So I just want to touch on that a little bit before we go in and look at the features of Boardmaker 7. So with communication, we know that people have been using Boardmaker to start maybe with a PEX system, so just lots of little symbols that they're printing out and laminating, or putting it on a single message device like a Big Mac, or maybe they're making a choice board, or going even further and creating a more robust communication book. We've got templates for all of these and can help you get up and running with supporting communication very quickly and very easily. When it comes to supporting behavior, we have a huge amount of templates to support making a task analysis for something very concrete, like taking care of your teeth, or talking about something very abstract, like what are the types of things that we can do to calm ourselves when we're upset. We can have templates that help lay out the rules of things that I need to do when I'm in school. And then, of course, giving reward systems for when we do follow those rules. We can see progress towards getting that treat that we're working for. We can have behavior supports that really fine-tune what's going to happen in just the next few minutes, or look at the week or even the month ahead. So we'll take a look at these templates. There are so many when it comes to supporting behavior in Boardmaker 7. Also, remember, we can have these as an interactive resource as well that we can throw onto an iPad, and it means that it's ever changing and I don't have to keep tabs of all of those pieces of laminated paper and Velcro, and I can change things really quickly on the fly when we need them. And lastly, Boardmaker has been supporting people's participation in classrooms and in society for years. It could be just having a conversation about places I want to go on my next holiday, or learning about vocabulary and things that we're tackling in our classrooms or in day-to-day life, or following a set of directions so I can participate in a recipe or an art activity. And we're really being very purposeful about our symbol use throughout all of this, making sure that we use symbols to support concepts, to help with understanding new vocabulary, and to help with participating in activities. And we're also really conscious that we know that if we put symbols above words, that the focus will always be on the symbol. And when we do want to support literacy development and have people focusing on the letters and the words on the page, that we would never put a symbol above it, because there's over 5 decades of research that show when you put a symbol above a word, when your purpose is for reading, it's going to hinder literacy. So we're being really, really careful about where we use symbols and make sure that we're supporting participation without hindering literacy development. And there has been some really fantastic integration of our symbols that continues support. So as learners maybe transition out of classrooms and need to continue to have support for communication, behavior, and learning, that we have partnered, of course, with Tobii Dynavox, our parent company, in creating communication systems like SnapCore First. Most excitingly and newly is our partnership with Google, putting PCS symbols for free in this free app called Action Blocks, which is a way that we can support symbol users in accessing Google Assistant. So I can, on any Android phone, have PCS symbol that I can click. It's then going to initiate Google Assistant to tell me when the next bus is coming, or remind me that we have a lunch date later, or read the news out to me. And lastly, our partnership also with Microsoft in putting our PCS Picture Dictionary as a free resource within Immersive Reader. So all of these partnerships, particularly Google and Microsoft being free add-ons, means that our learners, as they transition out of schools where maybe these symbols aren't as freely available to them, they now have a means of accessing them to continue to be able to go out and about using Google Assistant, or get some meaning from Microsoft published Word documents or OneNote or PowerPoints to help understand what the content that is being presented to them means. So really, really exciting stuff to see our symbols just getting out there to support people regardless of age or where they're at. So let's talk a little bit about how Boardmaker 7 can help you create your symbol-supported resources quickly and really flexibly. So first, we can create templates. Use templates to create resources really, really quickly. Here you can see we have a huge bank of templates. There's over 400, both print and interactive, and they cover a wide range of subcategories from behavior to writing, visual schedules, and organization. Here I'm quickly just going in and selecting one, and then I can use my edit in place to start to populate those symbols. So I just click in an empty box, I type a word, press return, and choose my symbol. And I continue to repeat that process. So I type in library, press return, choose my symbol. And we can go on and see all those symbols that are available, and I find the one that's right for my situation. I can also browse categories, because sometimes just kind of coming up with ideas on the top of my head can be really, really difficult. And if we go through and browse our symbol categories, we might be inspired to use lots of different symbols. So I can filter all of our categories, you see that folder system, to look for all the different symbols we have about community places. And then I can simply scroll through, find ones that, oh yeah, they might like to have this, and then drag and drop it into my button. So a great way to be inspired by all of the 50,000 plus symbols we have by going through categories and choosing ones that might be right for the resource I'm creating. Now, if we don't have a symbol, then you can use our integrated web search. So here you can see I'm going to the web search. I want the symbol for cupcake shop. We don't have a symbol for cupcake shop. So I'm now using the integrated web search to drag and drop the symbol for an image, a web image for cupcake shop into my resource here. Now, it's not all about creating things yourself. We do give you a great bank of ready-made resources with Boardmaker 7, and that's called Activities to Go. This is brand new. We've had a sampling out for about a year in a PDF version, but really, really excited to say with Boardmaker 7, we're bringing so much more to this. And Activities to Go are ready-made and editable content that covers 10 different themes. So these are the themes that we will be offering in Boardmaker 7. And each one of these themes then has 4 units of learning underneath them. So altogether, you're getting 40 units of ready-made material. And each one of these units is designed to be about a week's worth of instruction. So most school years are 40 weeks. You're getting literally a year's worth of content. And we're not stopping with these 10 themes. We are going to continue to develop activities to go for our Boardmaker 7 subscribers so that they have an ongoing support of ready-made resources. And with each of these units, we are differentiating them to 3 levels of learning. So we have those 40 units, and then each unit has a level A, which is designed for our emergent readers, our emergent learners who are really at the earliest stages of learning. Level B are for those who are starting to display some independent skills and knowledge. And then level C is really for those who are actively engaging with books and school-based learning. So not only are we giving you 40 weeks of ready-made resources, we're also differentiating them for you for all the different types of learners you may have in your classroom. So what I'm going to do now is just change my share and show you with a live demonstration of Boardmaker 7 how easy it is. I'll just go right into activities to go, give you an idea of what we're giving you with this content and show you how easy it is to edit it. So please just bear with me for 1 second while I change my screen share here. Why am I not? I'll have to stop, sorry. Stop my sharing, change this one, and I'm going to show you this. I'm going to minimize this. Okay, so I have launched right to Boardmaker 7 Editor, and I'm going to see right in front of me all the resources I've most recently been working on. What I'd like to do is go to the My Boardmaker section, where I am going to find a folder called My Curriculum. And this is where I will find activities to go. Now, I'm still working with a beta version because the development team are still working really, really hard to get Boardmaker 7 ready for the 17th. Normally, I would click on Add Curriculum and then click on Activities to Go and have all of those themes and all of those units ready for me to pick and choose which one I would like to add to my Boardmaker so I can edit them. That's not working right at the moment, so I'm not going to show that. I actually already have some saved. So I'd like to do a bit of work on land, sea, and air. So I've already downloaded that unit from Activities to Go. and let's work on seasons, because we've got this beautiful autumnal weather and I want to talk about how the seasons are changing. I've already downloaded level B because that's right for most of the learners in my classroom. Here we can see all the different resources that we're given with activities to go. They're all about introducing key concepts around the theme. This time it's seasons, as well as developing understanding and use of high utility vocabulary around this theme, seasons. So I'm going to go into this vocabulary developing activity because I'd like to edit it. There are a couple of symbols that I want to change because we don't use them in our classroom. We use something that's a little bit different. So I can go through to any of these, and if I want to change a symbol, I just click on it, press return, and it's going to initiate a symbol search. This is my beta version, just whatever searches on the first tap for some reason. And now I can choose that symbol that we've been using at circle time, that we've been using in our classroom over the past couple of months. And I can continue to go through, and you know what, Saturn is not my favorite planet, actually. Mars is. As you can, oh, no, actually I do have the UK version. We will have this all localized to UK English, and we will also be supplying some alignments to the Curriculum for Excellence, so you'll be able to see how the resources we give you aligns to the curriculum that you're teaching in your classrooms. So once I've got this all in ready to go, I can quickly just save it, and then I can create it as a PDF because actually I want to send this to somebody who is self-isolating at the moment. So parents are going to deliver this content to them. So now I can click on Create, and this is going to generate a PDF of the resources with the changes that I've made. Sorry, that popped up on my other screen. So I can now send that to parents so they can print it off at home and work on it with their students whilst they can't be in school. All right, that's just a super, super, super quick little introduction. I would love to show you more. I'm just going to go back to my PowerPoint and wrap up by telling you a little bit about the differences of how you can purchase Boardmaker 7. And also where you can get further information as well as more training, and we're doing lots of different webinars and things to help you get your head around Boardmaker.
Fantastic, Tina. That was excellent. So I'm sure the high contrast symbols will be popular. They look really good, and so many great developments going on. So congratulations to you and the team at Boardmaker and Tobii Dynavox. So look forward to when it comes out.
I now have time to just go through a little bit more, Craig, to talk about how to purchase it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
a few more minutes.
That'll be a question anyway. So.
Okay, so with Boardmaker 7, will have two different types of purchasing options. So you can purchase Boardmaker 7 as a standard license. That means you pay for it once, and you have 2 installations per license. One can work at a time, and of course that's for your editor on Windows, Mac, and Chromebook. So if you have access to the computer where you've installed Boardmaker 7, you have access to Boardmaker 7. The other option is Boardmaker 7 subscription, which allows you to install the editor and the student center on as many computers as you like. It's unlimited. Put it on, the sky's the limit. And then when you want to access it, you use a login, a username and password that is part of your subscription. Now, we do have a number of different ways you can purchase this. If you're a professional or a parent working on your own, you just go to our website, and that's not a typo. The price is in dollars at the moment. But if you're a school or a organization that would like to purchase Boardmaker 7 subscription, then we can go through normal purchasing order procedures in pounds and help get set up. I saw the question if Boardmaker 7 is reliant on Flash. Absolutely not. That's exactly why we're coming out with Boardmaker 7, because our current solution, Boardmaker Online, is, and we're going to need to discontinue that as Adobe has discontinued Flash. So the solution is to move everybody on to Boardmaker 7. And of course, we're going to have free trials, whether you go for standard or subscription, we will have free trials. You will get all 3 elements regardless of whether you go with standard or subscription. But our subscribers are going to get a few little extras. So everyone will be able to create and edit, as you saw me do, with templates. But our subscribers are going to get the symbol updates, the bi-weekly symbol updates, as well as all 40 weeks of activities to go. Our standard users will get 50,000 symbols and a sampling of activities to go. Everyone can use cloud storage in the community, regardless of what type of Boardmaker they get, standard or subscription. But our subscribers are also going to get curricula that I couldn't even talk about in this time for First Learning and Reading Avenue, as well as managing accounts. Now, everyone can get the Student Center, and there's a nice little set of free activities that will come with the Student Center. But our subscribers will also be able to assign resources and get that data collection. So I'm out of time here. So standard license, you can share your interactive stuff with people sitting next to you on your interactive whiteboard. Subscribers can share interactive in so many other ways with using the Student Center. So whether it's in your classroom, whether it's to your students at home, on their personal devices, or Tobii Dynavox AAC systems. Regardless, please take a look at our website. Right on the home page, you will find some information about Boardmaker 7. Do take a look at it. We're going to be publishing a number of webinars in the next couple of days where you can learn even more about Boardmaker 7. And of course, please get in touch with your local account manager by going to tobiidynavox.com. /find us, and there you can book a virtual meeting with Debbie. You can schedule time, you can see your diary, put some time in that works for both of you, and she can take you through Boardmaker 7 in even more detail and help set up a trial for you. I'm really sorry. I realize you could say I could go up to 30 minutes, and I've just hit that on the dot.
No, that's perfectly fine. So I'm guessing that's you in the middle, Tina, with the check trousers, and Debbie.
Yeah, that's me, and Debbie right next to me.
Yeah, I thought so. Jillian's asking, how will the new symbols each month be added to the symbol dictionary on your PC?
It's just an automatic update. It's not something that you will need, because this is a question a lot of people have been asking. It's not something that you will need any kind of IT intervention. We are working with a lot of authorities right now to make sure that they understand how our updates work. So it will just, every 2 weeks, by magic, you will have the new symbols appear, because it's not a whole system update. There's no need for intervention there. And Joanna, I see you're asking if it will run on older computers, or does it have a minimum spec? Our recommendation is Windows 10, but we have had a few schools and organizations get in touch with us because they are running older versions of Windows. We do have an evaluation program where you can get your hands on a beta version of Boardmaker 7 now if you are thinking about purchasing and being ready for the 17th of November. And we have had people running Boardmaker 7 on older versions and saying that it is working very well. We are only supporting really Windows 10 and up because that's what Windows is supporting. So we're keeping up with what the Windows recommendation is. Will it work on Mac? Absolutely. Yes, it will work on Mac. Stuart, 32-bit, Robert, 32-bit, I'm really not too sure about that. But all of the spec is on that on our website. So if you go to Tobii Dynavox and click on the Introducing Boardmaker 7, there's a whole section about IT supports, including compatibility checkers that you can run now in anticipation for launch day. So do take a look. I'm not sure. I should know. I'm not a totally technical person. So do take a look, and it will give you all the minimum specs there.
Thank you very much, Tina. I think we're probably out of time now, and maybe out of questions. Are there any more questions for Tina before we finish up?
Great. Thank you, Joanna. Yeah, we're really excited for it to come out too.
Okay, if there's nothing else, again, thanks everyone, and that's an excellent presentation, Tina. Thank you. And I will just close the session now. Okay. Thanks everyone. Thanks, Tina.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye. Bye.